Welcome along, triple students. Hope you're all okay. So I'm just going to do a bit on plant diseases because whilst this is in the combined topic, linking it together with the triple stuff is what makes your knowledge more in depth and the qualification better. So you would have done this probably during last lockdown. I don't know why it seems to be whenever we put biology on, the country locks down. Very strange. Anyway, look at these pictures and if you could tell me which one of these is the odd one out. You might be able to identify the issues with these plants already. Let's have a look. So you might have spotted that A is a fungal disease, B is bacterial spot disease, C is a viral disease, and D is the odd one out because it's not a disease. It's a deficiency, which means a lack of. So this one has a lack of iron. It's caused yellowing of the leaves. So let's look at the difference between deficiencies and diseases as well, because that's a really useful thing as well when we're talking about defence. Okay. Detecting and identifying plant disease. Think of as many ways as you can. How could you identify a plant has a disease? Define a disease. Have a think. So these are some ways that you could do it. It could be, so that middle picture shows discoloration, can be chlorosis, and then on the right, on the far left, we've got insects. So you might see the insects are attracted to them, so it might be that that's causing a disease. And if you look at the picture on the right, we've also got stunted growth. That suggests that there's an issue with the plant. And a disease is a disorder of structure or function in a human, animal, or plant that produces specific symptoms or that affects a specific location and is not simply a direct result of physical injury. So an injury wouldn't be a disease, it's an injury. So this has symptoms. Diseases have specific symptoms. So I'd jot that down if I were you. Okay. So stunted growth is what we said before. So stunted growth normally suggests a nitrate deficiency. Now nitrates are what help they combine with glucose to make amino acids and to make proteins. So if you have stunted growth, it means that you aren't able to build proteins because you're out of nitrates. So spots on a leaf normally suggest a fungus like black spot fungus on roses. I was trying to say black spot roses and I said blues. So there's a good picture of that one there. Any areas of decay, so black spots or blight on potatoes is quite a common way of identifying a plant. Galls is caused by bacterial infection. I can't remember the Latin name for that at this very second. Stems or leaves being malformed. Quite often you can have an aphid or a nematode infestation, so aphids will suck into the stem and cause deformations. Discoloration, any yellowing or chlorosis. Remember, chloro is to do with chlorophyll. So that is like affecting the chlorophyll, which means that plants with a magnesium deficiency will have this sort of yellow mottled pattern. Mosaic pattern resulting from tobacco mosaic virus, which is a plant virus. Pests such as aphids and caterpillars can also deform plants. I know I had a bit of a black flight issue this year. And caterpillars absolutely destroyed one of my plants. I can't remember what it was, but it never flowered because of the caterpillars. Okay. So if you spot a disease in your paradise of a garden, what are you going to do to identify it and how might you treat it? So you normally would check according to, it's the same if you identify a new species of plant or if you identify any issues, you Google it, you check it, gardening manuals, that kind of thing. These kind of things can actually be questions. So you ask people, ask experts, identify the pathogen. We could use a monoclonal antibody testing kit. So monoclonal antibodies is specifically on the triple curriculum, so we'll go through that. So you can actually use testing kits. They're kind of like the new lateral flow COVID tests and like pregnancy tests, the way they work. DNA analysis was the other one. So let's see if we can remember any of these. What we would do, so this is the treatment for these diseases on the left. So we've got botrytis. So how will we deal with this? We would use an antifungal treatment because it is a fungus. So is rose black spot, so we would also use an antifungal treatment. And aphid is a pest, so we would use a pesticide. Remember, side means death, so pesticides cause death of pests. If I've got a nitrate deficiency, so I've got stunted growth, I'm most likely going to use a fertiliser. And of course in triple we know all about using fertilisers, particularly NPK fertilisers, and we make fertilisers using the Haber process. Insects, obviously pests, magnesium deficiency, fertilisers. And remember, fertilisers for specific plants will come as a formulation, like specific quantities for a specific purpose. Tobacco mosaic virus spreads really quickly, not huge amounts of treatments for those, so you basically have to remove the plant for infection. The same with bacteria. You have to provide basically no environment for it to spread. Same with the coronavirus. The virus only lives as long as it has a vector, as long as it can move from one place to another to reproduce. It's the same with plants. Okay, so I've got this should have a timer on it, but it's not working on my computer. So I will send these separately if you'd like to write on them if you are printing them. But if not, you just need to, sorry, I've got a yawn. You just need to be able to answer these type of questions. So tobacco mosaic virus is a disease affecting plants. This diagram shows a leaf infected with it. All tools should be washed in disinfectant after using them. Suggest why. Scientists produced a single plant that contained tobacco mosaic virus resistant genes. Suggests how scientists could use this plant to produce many plants. And again, this is part of the reproduction, so it's linking lots of things together. Have a little think, and then we'll mark them. You might want to pause. It's to kill the virus or prevent it from spreading, obviously. And take a cutting or do a tissue culture or make stem cells from the meristem so we can reproduce that resistant gene. Just if you couldn't remember, a meristem is the tissue in most plants containing undifferentiated cells or stem cells, so it's like our bone marrow. It's found in the zones where they take place, so normally in roots and shoots. A couple more questions for you here. Again, once you're ready to answer them, just pause it. So some plants produce fruits that contain glucose. Describe how you would test for the presence of glucose. So this is a link to food testing from the biology. So how do you test for sugars? And then we'll do this one first. So we would use Benedict's solution, and it should turn from blue to brick red. This is worth 2 marks, okay? And that's all it wants is Benedict's solution, blue to brick red. It wants the 2 colours. The next one is tobacco mosaic virus can cause plants to produce less chlorophyll. This causes leaf discoloration. Explain why they have stunted growth. So they want to know why less chlorophyll causes stunted growth. It's got the word explain, and it is worth 4 marks. So you need to write 4 things. Pause if you need to. Less chlorophyll means that we've got less photosynthesis, 1 mark. Less glucose is produced, 1 mark. Glucose makes amino acids with nitrates or proteins or cellulose. All of those things are required for growth. So we've got our 4 marks there. So less chlorophyll, less photosynthesis, 1 mark. Less glucose, 1 mark. Less energy, 1 mark. Less synthesis or less proteins being made.